what is the value of owner's equity? Well, change in total equity is typically net new equity plus addition to retained earnings. Do you see any new shares being issued here, or all shares being purchased? Yep. So net new equity is what? Negative, right? So NNE is equal to negative 3,200. What do you think addition to shareholders' equity? Addition to retained earnings is? Remember, retained earnings means part of net income that you didn't pay as dividends. So you made 4,200, you paid 2,300 in dividends, the rest you added to retained earnings. And change in retained earnings, net income minus dividends. In this case, 4,200 minus 2,300. Hence the whole thing is negative 400. I'm sorry, that's the change. It says what is the value of owner's equity at year end. You're going to add it to the beginning of the year. I'm just going to write it here. Sometimes if you forgot it like that, if it's correct numbers, I'll count you as correct. Adante, it's a form of hell. You can go in, but you can't get out. Okay, now we're looking for market value of assets, okay? For current assets, typically, book value is the same as market value, except for inventory maybe. So let's start. Cash, 14,300. Accounts receivable, 27,500. Accounts payable is a liability, so ignore that. Inventory, 57,400. It doesn't say anything about, oh, it could sell the inventory for 41,900. See, that's the book value of inventory, but it can be sold at 41,900. So that's the market value. And it could sell the fixed assets for 72,100. I completely ignored depreciation and net fixed assets because they have nothing to do with market value. Market value is the cash that you could obtain if you sold them now. Obviously, we didn't care about the debts and current liabilities and stuff. We have one more question left. I'm just writing it like that. I'm not going to grade myself. Okay, this is one of those questions that looks like a space rocket science, but it's not. They added 3,600 to retained earnings. They have that much sales issued, that many new shares. We know the cost, dividends, and interest paid of 900. Here, costs are cost of goods sold without the depreciation. So what was the depreciation expense? I'm going to actually use our little friend, Seeker. I don't have to, but I will. Let me create a blank version of that. Since you weren't here the first two classes, you haven't seen much of this. I'm going to have my inputs, sales. Let's add some inputs. Costs, interest. Depreciation. One more. Tax rate. Let's see what else we have for inputs. Obviously, how much new shares issued, we don't care. We know the retained earnings and we know the dividends. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Let's enter the stuff that we know. Sales, 63.2. Costs, 64.1. Dividends, 1,100. Interest paid, 900. Depreciation, we don't know yet. Tax rate, 38.3%. Retained earnings, 3,600. I call this target value now, but I know that that's net income. Okay. I can calculate net income as dividends plus retained earnings. All right. Here I'm going to write the formula for net income given all those inputs. Sales minus costs minus interest minus depreciation times 1 minus tax rate. Okay, if those are the inputs. Well, I'm going to solve for depreciation here. All I have to do is go back to solver mode. It actually solved it. You shouldn't get a negative depreciation number, but since it's randomizing inputs, it came out that way. Let's see, let's make sales 83,000. Now that's the depreciation amount. It automatically solves it for you. Underlying that, it actually does a goal seek. There's a macro behind this that works on change. When one of those cells change, it says, what do I need to make that input to make the left-hand side is equal to right-hand side? Technically, there is a lot of iterative calculations. I mean, this is linear, so there's not too much iteration going on, but underlying there, Excel solves it for you. So when you have problems like these, where you know the outcome, or you can figure out the outcome, but you don't know one of the inputs, you can solve that algebraically. That's not a problem. Go ahead and use, that's our secret template. Okay. You're going to actually get a bit more use of this in chapter 3 and chapter 6, maybe even chapter 7. And that's it. Let's stop here. Again, remember, next Monday, we do not have a class. And let me kind of show you from last year's homework assignment. Just a second. I'm just going to copy stuff just to show you what it looks like. Okay, it's going to have the Excel sheet for the homework. I want your answers in Excel, okay? And the second Excel sheet is an Excel sheet where I solve similar problems. And that YouTube link is my video of solving those similar problems. It's a playlist for each of those problems. You have a 2-3 minute video. For example, in this case, in this problem, we are given, basically these are the problems. So if you go through those videos, understand how I solve them, the problems in the homework are entirely similar. Obviously they're not identical, but they're similar. And please make sure that you check all the tabs. Sometimes some of the tabs do not directly show. There are 6 problems, but you do only 3. So don't shoot yourselves in the foot. Just make sure that you look at all the tabs. And 2, ideally, I would want you to kind of show me how you got it. But if you get the right answer, I don't worry about it too much. But if the answer is 5 and you find 3, if you simply write a 3 there, I have no idea how you got that. Which means I am not able to give you partial credit. So I don't know how you got there. Maybe you made a silly mistake. But if I kind of see how you got it, I say, oh, okay, he or she made a little mistake here. I'll take off only 1 out of 10 points instead of entire 10. So help yourselves. Don't lose points for nothing. Yes?
What day is it due? I'm not sure.
Friday, September 8th.
Okay.
So you got a lot of time. Homework and the quiz. But, you know, if you need more time, I'm always flexible on those. Don't worry about it. But don't email me, 1 hour left to the deadline. Please, I need an extension. That I do not forgive. Using Godfather's expressions. All right? I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And remember, we're going to play Jeopardy. And make sure you're here, because who's going to play that day in terms of groups is going to be determined at that time by randomization. I have a cool little sheet with all of your pictures and stuff in there. You'll see it.